Should we talk about G4?
Oh, I mean, I guess so. As long as we don't say anything mean, because it's rude to speak ill of the dead.
Oof.
I gotta say this before we start. So, rest in peace, Zombie G4 TV. Those of you who were super stoked on the return of G4, maybe what I'd like to hear is why. Because as someone who didn't really have any access to traditional media at the time that G4 was taking off, like we didn't have a cable TV subscription at that time. Like
Yeah,
I didn't
neither
watch
do we.
any TV
Yeah,
at
me
that
neither.
time. So I don't have any nostalgia for G4, but it seems like there's a contingent of people that were like super miss G4 and loved it. And I'd love to hear from you guys, like why. Yeah, people are saying like Tech TV was the bomb. I know Chris Perillo had his break on like G4 Tech TV. I think Tech TV was like a sub brand of G4 or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, lots of people never even heard of it.
OGG4 was better. I didn't hear about it until years later because I ended up watching Adam Sessler on a game review channel that I don't remember the name of anymore. That I believe like all the hosts left and then it was not cool anymore. But I used to like that game
Apparently
review
G4
channel that
bought
he was
out
on.
Tech TV.
But I had never. That's the only reason why I knew that G4 existed was people would comment about him being on it back in the day on that show.
People talking about screensavers, Attack of the Show. So basically, they just had a lot of like really good hosts back in the day. It sounds like
A bunch of people like a lot of people calling out X Play.
I don't even know what
I don't know
X-Play
what that
is.
is. Yeah, last year I didn't have cable, so we're very ignorant in all this. So yeah, when it came back, I didn't have the
Culturally
nostalgia
stunted.
rough, so I didn't go to start watching it because I never watched it in the first place. I got nothing against it. It sucks that it went down. I've heard a lot of different various commentary on this about how they think that the that space is now pretty well covered by a lot of smaller independent like 1 to 2 bit outfits here and
More
there.
agile.
Yeah. Like I know one that I check out all the time is Game Ranks. That's a relatively small team that have just been killing it for years. So trying to pull together the
Game
force.
Explain is another really small one that I know.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Trying to bring together this massive group, bunch of big names, bunch of fantastic hosts. I have heard actually very, very good things about a lot of the people that worked on G4 TV. So, and I know that there are already people trying to poach them, both the people that worked behind the scenes and on camera. So I suspect that the people that worked there are going to do well because apparently
Blue Purple Kid and Twitch says they had good hosts even today and it still got shut down. Comcast sucks. But I mean, I'd like to talk a little bit more about that later. Let's talk more about that later. But yeah, Luke, carry on.
Yeah, so like I have heard that the behind the scenes team was just absolutely fantastic. I've heard that the hosts were all really good. But they just weren't really getting the viewership that they needed to sustain the cost of having this apparently, again, I don't know, but I have heard this apparently massive studio and very extensive staff because it's expensive. It's going to be expensive. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to make quality content on an online budget. And traditional media, like G4's last run ended in 2013. Back in 2013, it was a lot easier to make money through traditional TV advertising and cable subscriptions. Those numbers have only fallen since then. And when you account for, inflation, your production costs have not gone down. So you've got these lines that are trending in the opposite directions that would be helpful for making a production sustainable. And so as much as you might say Comcast sucks, and as much as I might not necessarily disagree with you, I think the thing that sucks about them was that they ever thought this was going to work in the first place. This was just clearly a stupid idea.
There's a bunch of people in chat. Like one person Sydney broke it. Says Comcast did very little marketing. They had an abysmal business and marketing plan. They could not figure out how to make things people wanted to watch. And that's, yeah, maybe the
But like what
production is
marketing?
fantastic and the hosting is fantastic, but if
Like what marketing do we do?
I didn't know.
Marketing is dead.
Sure, but I didn't know where to watch G4. I don't. Were they on YouTube? I don't think so.
Why would you care? Like if you didn't find it, then you won't find it. Like if it was really good, we rely on virality these days. Algorithmically, if it was suitable for a given viewer, it would get served to them.
Yeah, so I'm looking at G4TV's YouTube channel, and they're getting like 3,000 or 4,000 views a video. That's just not going to do it for the staff that they had. I don't know if everything actually hit the YouTube channel. A lot of places use YouTube channel as like partial archive side business thing.
Yep.
But yeah, the budget was extremely high, and when budgets are extremely high, you're going to have to perform at a level that can pay for the budget. And it seems like that wasn't happening. So that's it. Yeah. Sucks. But I do think that a lot of these people are going to land on their feet.
Mike Kloplip says the guy whose entire business is supported by marketing. Yes, but not marketing the show. The content speaks for itself. We don't market Linus Tech Tips. We don't buy what would you even do?
A lot of marketing for something like
websites.
A lot of marketing for something like a YouTube channel is through recommended stuff, right? And is the platform that you're on. I don't know if they were fully on YouTube, but if they were fully on YouTube, then getting 3,000 to 4,000 views with the team that they had is just not going to support the math just doesn't work, right?
I don't know. Razrael in Twitch chat says, I'm sure you guys know better than I, but I assume it failed because of corporate bloat and idiotic budgeting costs on infrastructure that isn't needed for what they were producing. But that's the thing. Apparently it was really good. It's just that
I've heard a lot of really good things. Yeah.
It does cost a lot. It legitimately costs a lot to approach a production like that in a traditional media manner and to make it good. And so that's why I think it was dumb that they even tried. Not because, the hosts weren't great or the showrunners weren't great or whatever else, but because it was pretty clear to me that there just wasn't enough money in it to sustain something like that as a startup. Like it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, either way, condolences for the team there. I know I've said it like 14 times, but I think they're going to be okay. I know of 2 different outfits that are currently putting out like, hey, if you worked there, hit us up because we're hiring people like you. So I think they'll be all right.
Yeah,
but
I think so too.
I hope that's true for all of them. Obviously, you want people to be able to find gainful employ.
Apparently, they attack their followers a lot. I don't know how much that would or wouldn't necessarily. Hey, we don't like to admit that.
Fair enough.
Oh man.
Apparently, talent were expected to play a role in managing public relations, and little action would be taken by the company in times of controversy. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't know a ton about it. I hope that I heard it was good from some people that I trust, and I hope that the people that were doing a good job in order to make it good land on their feet, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Rip G4 again.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
It's especially troubling just how sudden the shutdown was. Employees were informed via email that the LA facility would be closed and all streams postponed, but no word that the network was actually shutting it down. Many employees only found out via a memo published on Twitter. That's just gross.
Yeah, I'm really not enjoying this like modern people getting fired through figuring it out through hearing it on the news thing. I'm sure, to be fair, that was a thing in the past as well, but I've been hearing a few of those lately. So, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of employees said there was a ton of mismanagement and a lack of direction in an interview with the Washington Post. Apparently, they wasted a bunch of funding on guest stars and cut staff, and people said they were underpaid. Yeah, all right. Discussion question. LTT video game channel when? It feels like a matter of time, doesn't it?
I wanted to do one for a long time, but it's hard. there isn't a ton of money in it. Gaming is something that the people that are doing well on YouTube in gaming are huge, and they're doing well because their volume is just enormous. And a lot of them have honestly pivoted slightly out of gaming so that they can get their advertising dollars from segments that aren't just gaming. They can use their audience that is interested in not just the fact that they talk about games, but they're interested in the person. So I'm not saying they're using their audience in a negative way, but they're making forms of content that aren't just gaming content, because maybe they don't want to just make gaming content, and also they get to put that video in a different advertising segment than just gaming, which is often a really good thing for money. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
It's such a saturated space.
It's also
honest. Yeah.
The fans are vicious.
That's true.
Just to put that out there. And I've been one of them. There was, I don't know if you guys remember this, but do I bring this up? Yeah, let's go for it. Cuphead.
Okay.
Cuphead. Do you remember the launch of Cuphead? I think we even talked about this on WAN Show back in the day. There was a game reviewer who couldn't make it through the tutorial.
Oh no.
It was actually hilarious. And a lot of reviews coming out about games that are hard, or like let's say Cuphead. The Cuphead one was like pretty bad. Watching the person's playthrough where they spend whatever it is, like 25 minutes trying to get through the tutorial that should take people like 30 seconds was pretty intense. But watching reviewers rate difficult games really poorly because they couldn't accomplish it is not fun. It's not good. But I feel like the gaming audience is more ready to go after the reviewer in those situations than a lot of other audiences, which is fine and fair. But when the money's low and the audience is brutal, it makes the business decision.
And the competition is high.
And the competition is very high because there's a lot of game reviewers and there's a lot of good game reviewers as well. We named 2 of them on the show. It's not like there's a hole there that we need to fill. So like what could we do differently in that space? There's a bunch of people that do really long form, like video essay type content on games that is just amazing. Like the amount of research that goes into it is incredible. And they make these works of art. There's a lot of people that make shorter form, more review punchy type of stuff that is also really good. Like it doesn't need us to join it. I would enjoy making gaming content. Definitely doesn't need us in that space. So it's a difficult.
I'd be happy to talk
situation.
about Beat Saber map packs.
Yeah, but like
other than that, it's like, what would I even contribute?
and honestly, like that's cool. How many views is that going to get? How do we make a good business call out of Linus talking about map packs on Beat Saber? I think it would probably be a thing where it's just like a passion project. But then you're paying people's wages for a passion project because it's going to need to get edited. And then if we make a mistake over there, the people that are angry about it are going to cleave all of the other companies and groups that we have, which is pretty extensive at this point. So it's tough. It's tough.
Someone on Twitch chat talking about that Untitled Goose Game stream that you and I did, saying it was funny to watch. Like, yeah, it was, but from like a work standpoint, that was the least productive thing that either Luke or I could have been doing.
Yeah.
Like what were we making? Like $3 an hour to play Untitled Goose Game?
I have no idea.
The opportunity cost of that is enormous.
Yeah.
Enormous.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got people on Twitch also pointing out that you don't have to do reviews. You can do niche content. Yeah, but niche content, it's right in the name. How do you make money on it?
And there's,
you know?
there's people that can and be very successful and make really good money, but it's often 1 to 2-bit outfits. We're big.
Exactly. Like that's the thing is you can make money as an individual, but we're not an individual anymore.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, anything we do has to make more than just the person working on it, because there are other teams that support those people. If you're just an individual, fine. But if you have to also pay your share of the overhead from our accounting department and logistics department, and to be clear, you know, it's not fair to call accounting overhead, but they don't make money, they count it, right? And what they do is super important, keeping us compliant with various tax regulations and things like that. You know, we can't operate without them, but it means that we can't just take every dollar that comes in and go, oh, well, that covers the salary of the people who work on this show. It's just more complicated.
And like the stuff...
Galactic asks, what's the rationale behind Carpool Critics? The rationale there is that they really wanted to do a movie podcast. And I said, okay, give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. And they really, really like doing it still, I guess, because otherwise they don't have to. Yeah. I mean, they're just movies. They're just movies podcast.
Yeah. And like for me, the type of content that I would want to make if I made content like that would be content similar to like Ahoy or Nakey Jakey or channels like that. And there's no way I would be as good. So you should probably just watch them. And I'm just being real about that.
Want to like, I would probably, I think Untitled Goose Game is honestly a perfect sandbox for me. That is my gaming personality in a nutshell.
It really is.
I probably had the most fun that I've had gaming in the last like 5 years playing Star Citizen with you and Riley for his Tech Longer episode. Just being an absolute piece of garbage the entire time. Like I had way more fun ruining this utterly broken game for everyone than I would have actually trying to role play in it.
Yeah.
You know, we should release that as a Floatplane exclusive if Riley still has the uncut footage. Because that was hilarious. It was so fun.
I wish it made, I don't think it made it into the cut, or maybe like one version of it did or something. But Linus figured out how to like KO your character. I'm gonna say it that way. And it was like holding backspace or something, and your character would just knock themselves out and you'd fall on the floor. We started running around the hangar, both of us just like launching ourselves.
And just ragdolling in the middle of this like starport.
And Morphologist, who's a fantastic creator, he's an architect who does reviews of the ships and stars, and he does other stuff as well. But he's trying to like show us this game and how cool it can be able to like run, boom.
I managed to almost PK the entire squad.
Yeah. No, I thought you did get everyone.
No, I didn't get everyone. They got the gun away from me.
No, because you crashed the ship into the planet.
Oh, well, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I do remember the gun part, though. Yeah.
Oh, I was so close to getting you all.
Yeah. I would have fun. I could have some fun making. I've had some video ideas in my head for like years that I would really like to explore.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, it's the thing that kind of sucks about doing this professionally, because there's video ideas that I would love to do that have been like swimming around in my head, twinkle in the eye, you know, that are just not worth the time.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, what is worth, you know?
Yeah. Like there's a few that I've wanted to do. I've even started writing scripts on a few of them over the years, and then just been like, this is way too similar to what I do for work. Releasing this on my personal channel would probably be really weird. I don't like really want to do that. So then they haven't become anything, but it's still something that like, but then if I do it during work hours, the whole time I try to do it, I'm just going to be like, holy crap, there's other things I should be doing. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
It just doesn't
tough.
really line up.
I feel the same way about a lot of stuff. I mean, even stuff that I really like kind of should be doing for work, like Colton's been chasing me to do a course forever, and like I should write that
Yeah.
book and stuff like that. It's
Yep.
just, I know it's not the quote unquote best use of my time, but there's things that I kind of feel like would be a lot more creatively fulfilling. Um, but just are, I think the big problem is I'm really just not done with LTT yet. I feel like once we get labs up and running smoothly, um, once we have, like this great host stable and we've got labs just like churning through product in the background,
You free up more time.
maybe the time will come. Yeah, maybe the time will come for
Maybe,
me to spend more time fighting Dennis on Channel Super Fun or something,
yeah, maybe you could have your own. We haven't been doing it as much lately because we're crunching pretty hard. We're behind on a bunch of things, but Flowplane, in theory, has this thing where on the last Friday of every month, except for right now, we do something where we do Creative Day, where people are supposed to work on their own, like something that they find interesting that might potentially be a benefit, but we don't measure it based on like benefits and stuff. It's just, could it potentially bring any value to the company? And there's been some really cool stuff that has come from that has actually been really valued. There's also been stuff that has come from that has had effectively no real major value, and that's completely fine. But it's a cool creative outlet. So if you're able to have the time to be able to do that, but one of the problems with those types of systems is being able to have that time is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Yeah, Conrad just
Yeah,
pointed out
Conrad points out.
merch messages was originally a Creative Day thing. Yeah, it was there was a suggestion from a viewer. I don't remember exactly how detailed it was, and then Conrad took it way further and turned it into merch messages. And now that's like a core part of WAN Show and a notable part of the business. Really, really, really cool. There's been other stuff that has come out that has been very good from Creative Day as well. And it's something that I want to get back into. We're just behind on some stuff. But yeah, I think those things can be valuable. I think Linus having some time to just riff on things that he finds interesting would be cool. But time is very leveraged right now. But yeah, I don't know. Video game reviews. It's something we've been thinking about for years. Because before we started Channel Superfun, it was like a which one do we do type of conversation.
It was either video games
stuff.
or toys and other more different kinds of games.
Yep.